It is 4:12 in the morning, and the pain arrives even before the sun. It is punctual, far more punctual than I ever was at defensive drills in the peak of winter in Chicago. The first thing I feel is not the soft Egyptian cotton sheets, nor the smell of coffee that the programmed machine should be making. The first thing I feel is iron. It is a cold, hard, alien sensation that radiates from the middle of my thighs down to my ankles. My knees are no longer bones, cartilage, and God-given ligaments. They are titanium, screws, and a mass of scarred tissue that throbs with changes in atmospheric pressure. If it's going to rain this afternoon, my legs already know it now, in the dark, screaming in a dialect of agony that only those who sold their bodies to the League can understand. I stare at the ceiling. There is a water stain in the right corner that looks like the map of Florida. I have been staring at that stain for the past 2 hours, trying to gather the courage for the military operation that is the simple act of going to the bathroom to urinate. My name is Michael O'Connor. My friends called me Mike. The television commentators, those men in expensive suits and white smiles who have never taken a hit in their lives, called me the Hammer of Chicago. Today, at 60 years old, the Hammer can't get out of bed without groaning like a wounded animal. I take a deep breath. The air comes in wheezing, a reminder of the broken ribs from the 1989 season, the ones that never healed properly because the coach said he needed me for the playoffs. I roll my torso to the side. It is a slow, calculated movement. My right hand, with fingers twisted and swollen from arthritis, gropes along the nightstand in search of the orange bottle. The sound of pills rattling inside the plastic is my new soundtrack. It's no longer the roar of 70,000 fans at Soldier Field. It's the dry clatter of oxycodone tablets knocking against each other. I swallow 2. Dry. I wait 20 minutes. That's how long it takes for the demon in my joints to fall asleep a little, just enough for me to put my feet on the floor. While I wait for chemistry to do the dirty work my willpower no longer can, my eyes land on the object that gleams, solitary and arrogant, atop the dresser. The ring. The Super Bowl ring. Solid gold, 18 carats, set with 40 diamonds, forming the head of the fierce bear. It is beautiful. It is hypnotic. And I hate it with every ounce of strength I have left. That ring might be worth $30,000 on the collector's market. But it cost me far more. It cost me my ability to walk my daughter down the aisle at her wedding. It cost me my ability to throw a ball with my grandchildren in the backyard. I traded my legs for a circle of metal that now serves only to gather dust and mock my immobility. I remember when everything felt infinite. I was 22 years old when I left the University of Notre Dame. I was a machine. 6'3", 240 pounds of pure muscle, fast as a leopard and strong as a freight train. I didn't run. I glided over the grass. I remember draft day. The tight suit on my broad shoulders, the Chicago franchise cap being placed on my head, my mother's embrace. She cried with pride. She thought that multi-million-dollar contract was a passport to paradise. Little did she know she was signing her own son's torture sentence. Back then, pain was different. It was a badge of honor. If you weren't hurting, you weren't trying. I remember the smell of the locker room. A pungent mix of sour sweat, adhesive tape, damp leather, and that mentholated chemical smell of the topical painkiller we rubbed all over our bodies like aftershave. We were gods. We walked through the stadium corridors and the earth trembled. I looked in the mirror and saw an indestructible warrior. Nothing could hurt me. I could collide head-on with a 200-pound running back at full speed and get up laughing, asking for more. But the league is a meat grinder. It doesn't care about you. It cares about the spectacle. The first time I felt that something was truly wrong was in a game against the Green Bay Packers on a freezing Sunday in November. The ground was hard as frozen concrete. I read the play, cut left, and planted my foot to pounce on the quarterback. I heard a crack. It wasn't a low crack. It was a loud, sharp sound, like a thick oak branch snapping in half during a storm. My right knee folded inward in a direction human anatomy should not allow. The pain was white, blinding. The world went silent for a second. I fell onto the cold grass. The doctors ran out. And here begins the real tragedy, the part they don't show in inspirational movies. In the locker room, while the stadium roared outside waiting for my return, the team doctor didn't talk about surgery. He didn't talk about rest. He grabbed a syringe, a thick, long needle filled with a milky anesthetic liquid. "This will take the pain away, Mike. The team needs you. It's third down. You're the captain of the defense. Are you going to let them score?" The manipulation was perfect. They attacked your pride, your masculinity. I looked at that needle and nodded. I didn't want to be the weak one. I didn't want to be the man who abandoned his brothers in the trench. He plunged the needle deep into the space between the bones. I felt the cold liquid invade my knee, silencing the nerves that were screaming, "Stop!" 5 minutes later, I was back on the field. I couldn't feel my leg. I was running on a dead limb, destroying what remained of the cartilage with every impact, grinding the meniscus like pepper in a mill. But I made the tackle. We won the game. And the coach slapped me on the back and said, "Good boy, you're an animal." I was an animal for 12 seasons, 12 years of weekly injections, 12 years of hits to the head that made my teeth vibrate, 12 years of Mondays when I had to crawl across the living room floor because my back locked up completely. But the money came in. Imported cars, the mansion in the suburbs, the parties where everyone wanted to be my friend, the women who smiled at the uniform, not the man. I bought houses for my parents, paid for my siblings' college. I felt like the provider, the patriarch, the king. I ignored the fact that at 30, I already had the mobility of a 70-year-old man. Then the end came. Not with glory, not with a thrilling final touchdown. It came in some random preseason game. My body simply said, "Enough." The other knee blew out. My back gave way. The team doctor, the same one who pumped me full of drugs for a decade, looked at the x-rays and said, with bureaucratic coldness, "Mike, it's over. If you keep going, you'll be in a wheelchair before 50. And just like that, the phone stopped ringing. The day after my retirement, the silence was deafening. There were no more reporters, no more coaches yelling, just me in my gigantic marble living room and a body that was beginning to collect its debt with compound interest. The first 5 years were denial. I tried to play golf, but the hip rotation made me see stars. I tried running on the treadmill, but my knees swelled until they were the size of melons. Then the surgery started. 1, 2, 5, 10. Total replacement of the right knee, hospital infection, removal of the prosthesis. Months of intravenous antibiotics, new prosthesis, left knee prosthesis, fusion of 3 vertebrae in the lower spine. My wife, God bless that woman, but she didn't sign a contract for this. She married an elite athlete, a virile, powerful man. 10 years later, she was changing purulent dressings on her husband's leg and helping a 35-year-old man put on his socks. The light in her eyes faded. Love was replaced by pity and then by exhaustion. When she left, taking the kids, I didn't blame her. Who wants to live in a house that smells like a hospital and depression? Who wants to live with a man who, because of chronic pain and head trauma, has sudden rage outbursts and then cries in the corner of the kitchen? Today, the medication has kicked in. I feel that warm tingling. That's my cue. I sit on the edge of the bed. My feet touch the cold floor. I grab the aluminum walker beside the bed. That walker is the symbol of my defeat. It's light, silver, with 2 old tennis balls cut open and fitted onto the back leg so it doesn't scratch the floor. I, Michael O'Connor, the terror of quarterbacks, the man who graced the covers of sports magazines, now depend on 2 yellow tennis balls not to fall flat on my face. I stand up. The effort makes sweat bead on my forehead instantly. Every step is a negotiation. The right knee clicks, clack, clack. A metallic, artificial sound. The hallway to the bathroom is only 5 meters long, but it feels like a marathon. I pass the hallway mirror and avoid looking. I don't want to see the face swollen from corticosteroids, the sunken eyes of someone who hasn't slept through a full night in 15 years. I reach the bathroom. The toilet has a raised seat, special for the disabled, and iron grab bars bolted into the side wall. I cling to those bars with the strength of desperation. If I slip here, if I fall on this tile, it's over. I don't have the strength to get up. I would have to lie there, naked and humiliated, waiting for the cleaning lady to arrive on Tuesday or shouting for Alexa to call emergency services. The image of firefighters breaking down my door to find me lying in my own filth is my recurring nightmare. After I'm done, I return to the living room. I sit in my leather recliner. This is where I spend 18 hours of my day. The television is on some news channel, but I don't listen. I stare at the opposite wall. There it is, the number 33 jersey, framed in glass, signed by the entire championship team. It looks like it belongs to someone else, a dead person. Sometimes young athletes write to me. They ask how to get there. They want to know the secret to being a champion, to winning the ring. I wish I had the courage to tell them the truth. I wish I could grab those 18-year-old boys by the shoulders, look into their hopeful eyes and say, "Don't do this. Run. Go study. Go be an accountant, a teacher, a gardener, anything. Don't sell your flesh to this industry." They think the money makes it worth it. I have money. I still have a few million saved, despite having spent a fortune on doctors and divorce lawyers. But money doesn't buy new cartilage. Money doesn't buy a night of sleep without pain. Money doesn't make my daughter forget the day I yelled at her because my head was exploding from post-concussion migraines and I didn't know who I was. I would trade every cent. Trade the mansion, trade the fame, trade that damn diamond ring. I would trade it all to be able to walk barefoot on the grass on a Sunday morning without feeling like knives are being driven into my bones. The sun is starting to rise now. The light comes through the window and hits the ring directly. It shines intense, perfect, immaculate. It will last forever. 100 years from now, that ring will still be shining in some museum or in some collector's vault. But me? I am just the disposable packaging that was torn open to get the prize inside. I am the leftover. The pain is coming back. The effect of the medication lasts less each month. Soon I'll need more. It's an endless cycle until the day my swollen, tired heart finally stops. And honestly, sometimes, sitting here in this chair, staring into nothingness, I catch myself wishing that day would come soon. Because in the grave, at least, knees don't hurt. In the grave, the hammer can finally stop striking. I look at my inert legs, covered by gray sweatpants. I try to move the toes of my left foot. Nothing happens. The command leaves the brain and gets lost somewhere along my damaged spine. I am a prisoner inside the monument I built myself. You want to know the price of glory? The price of glory is waking up every day and realizing you are a 60-year-old man in a 90-year-old body, alone, with a cold metal trophy as your only companion, waiting for the clock to strike the hour of the next pill. This is not a game. It never was a game. It was a sacrifice, and I was the lamb.